In my sophomore year, a wealthy lady found me and offered me 2 million yuan to be a tutor for her son. The young master was rebellious and unruly. I pretended to be sick to trick him into studying. On the eve of the college entrance examination, I caught him going to a nightclub. I threw the tutoring fee in his face and said, "You'll never amount to anything in your life. Even if you give me 1 million yuan, I won't be your teacher anymore." 4 years later, I was cornered and humiliated by him. Leo's eyes were red with anger. Terminal cancer? Here are 2 million yuan. Lie to me again. Teacher. 4 years later, I returned to be Ishi. To save up for the surgery fee, I resumed my old job as a tutoring teacher. My roommate recommended a new tutoring student to me. A high school girl in a wheelchair. Introverted and melancholic. 600 yuan per class. This price made me extremely tempted. Roommate, have you arrived yet? Don't go wrong. Huatong Road. I'll be there soon. I replied to her. I raised my hand and before I could press the doorbell, the door slowly opened. Looking up, I thought of 360-degree surveillance cameras on the wall pointing at me. A rich person's hobby? Playing mystery? After entering, the aunt led me forward. When we reached the living room, she asked me to sit and wait for a while. Teacher, wait a moment. Ning Ning will come down soon. This wait lasted for half an hour. After waiting for a while, I really couldn't sit still anymore. There was no one around. I went upstairs to look for someone. I found someone in a room. That person was lying on the bed, covering her head with a quilt, seemingly sleeping. I'm not encountering such a rebellious student who doesn't want tutoring for the first time. In these years of tutoring career, even the most difficult one was subdued by me, let alone such a melancholic little girl. I walked to the table on my own, took out the textbooks and cassoulet, and arranged them. There are still 3 minutes. The class officially starts. Whether you study or not is up to you. The road is chosen by you. I just hope you won't regret the road you chose 10 years later. The quilt seemed to move. When I saw her reaction, I got up and walked over, and bent down to help her. Is it inconvenient for your legs? Do you want me to pick you up? As soon as my hand touched her waist, I immediately felt something was wrong. This hard. Is it arm muscle? The quilt was lifted, revealing an overly young male face, with delicate features and deep-set eyes. The boy raised his eyebrows. His voice was slightly hoarse, with the drowsiness and playfulness of just waking up. Hannah, you're half an hour early. 3 Leo. When I saw his face, I felt like being struck by lightning. My heart missed a beat. Subconsciously, I took half a step back. Then I retreated to the table, and tried to make myself look not so nervous. The boy in front of me is 2 years younger than me. 4 years ago, he was my tutoring student. That year, I was a sophomore and he was a senior in high school. He was still an ungraduated male high school student. But this person is more dangerous than anyone else in the world. He sat up and suddenly lifted the quilt and got out of bed. I was so scared that I turned around. Is Hannah so timid now? There was the sound of fabric rubbing as he got dressed. Leo laughed. You've seen it before. What is he talking nonsense about? I gave him a puzzled look. I was almost blinded. Leo was only wearing a pair of casual pants and was barefoot. He walked around the room with his upper body exposed. It seems that he is quite confident in his figure. It's no wonder he is confident. If I had 8-pack abs like a washboard and an abdominal V-line, I wouldn't even wear pants and walk around the house all day. I reminded him. 10 minutes have passed. Are you the one who wants tutoring? If you want tutoring, then I'll leave first. 10 minutes are also charged as 1 hour. For only then did Leo slowly find a shirt and jacket from the closet and put it on. When he put it on, he didn't button it up properly. The boy put his hands in his pockets and walked in front of me, looking down at me and buttoning his shirt slowly. Why are you in such a hurry? Hannah. How can a teacher be impatient? My gaze involuntarily stayed on his wrist. The wrist bones were distinct and the knuckles were long. Leo's hands are really beautiful. Just like for years ago. The first time we met was at his former home. It was summer that day. His villa was on the mountainside. After getting off the bus, I walked a long way to reach his home. After arriving at his room, the central air conditioning in his home was turned on fully. I sneezed. Immediately, I heard a very impolite voice say lazily, "She has a cold. Let's not have tutoring today." I turned my head and looked over, directly meeting Leo's eyes, who was throwing a tantrum and looking unhappy. 5 in the end. Young Master Zhang agreed to sit down only under the coercion and inducement of his mother. His mother promised him that if he could improve his grades to a passing level in this exam, she would reward him with a racing car. When I was explaining the questions to him, the young master didn't listen at all throughout. He was playing with his mobile phone on his own. I said, "Don't you want to pass? How can you pass if you don't listen?" He sneered and didn't even raise his eyelids. "You do your teaching. I play with my phone. Mind your own business." I also laughed. I was angered by him. I picked up the water cup next to me and splashed it on his face. It stunned him on the spot immediately. Leo looked at me with a chilly gaze and said with a smile, "Looking for death?" I said, "Yes. No need for you to remind me. There isn't much time left." 6 after a while. The boy reacted. "My mom said you were sick? Incurable?" Heaven can testify that what I clearly said to her was, "difficult to cure." I answered ambiguously. "So I hope you have some humanity and cooperate with me. At least during my class time. Listen carefully. Probably Leo is not a bad person by nature. Teenage boys are unrestrained in character. I tutored several students during holidays. More or less. They all have such problems. But they are innocent and kind at heart. And I, for the sake of making money, use this kindness to make them have tutoring sessions properly. After all, the benefits promised by their parents when they are admitted to college are my goal." From then on, Leo seemed to have changed. He gradually began to become serious. He was originally intelligent. After tutoring, he got a high score in the first exam. This was beyond my expectation. On the day his grades were released, he called me several times. I was very busy that day and returned a video call to him at night. He seemed to be playing games and having a party at home with his friends. Leo found a quiet place to talk to me. The young master frowned, angry that I didn't answer the phone for so long. I said, "How many points?" Leo said, 579. I praised him. "Not bad. Keep it up. It is indeed very remarkable to improve so much suddenly from 200 or 300 points before." Leo said, "Is that all?" I laughed. "What else?" Leo said, "It's my birthday next week. Come and attend." I just smiled and didn't directly agree. 7 on Leo's birthday. I didn't make it in time. Just as I was about to leave, my grandma suddenly had a hysterical episode and started throwing things in the room. I asked my neighbor to help me hold her down on the bed. I tied restraint straps on her hands to prevent her from hurting herself. The neighbor pointed at my forehead. "Hannah, you are bleeding on your head. Deal with it quickly. Grandma threw a water cup just now, and I didn't dodge it." I tore off a few pieces of toilet paper and wiped my forehead. My mobile phone was ringing. I picked it up. It was Moo calling. Moo is one of Leo's buddies. After Leo's grades improved, his mother recommended me to Moo's mother. "Hannah, I'm downstairs at your house." I was a little surprised and leaned out to look from the balcony. "How did you find my house?" Moo was wearing a school uniform. Probably he had just finished school. His family's driver was waiting in the car beside. Moo waved at me. "I saw you enter here after school last time. Hannah, little Lee's birthday party is about to start. Let's go together." I went downstairs with a gift. "I have something to do so I won't go. Please wish him a happy birthday for me." After returning upstairs, Grandma had regained her consciousness. She opened her mouth and tears kept falling. Ann, you go. Don't care about Grandma anymore. I walked over and helped her untie the restraint straps and blew on her wrist. Does it hurt? Grandma stretched out her hand and trembling light touched the band-aid on my forehead. Ann, does it hurt you? I shook my head. It doesn't hurt. After being busy until 1 o'clock in the morning, I finally found time to take a look at my mobile phone. The mobile phone showed more than a dozen missed calls from Leo. And there were several text messages. Hannah. Not keeping your word? Hannah. What's the meaning of having my friend send a gift over? When did you become so familiar with Moo? Hannah. Is it so hard to answer a phone call? Very good. You don't need to come tomorrow. I was lying on the bed and had a headache. The young master was angry. It seemed very difficult to coax him. Unable to sleep while tossing and turning. I still sent him a message. Happy birthday, Leo. The next day, I was fired by the young master. 9 to be honest. Leo's family offers the highest remuneration among all tutoring families. Mom Jong also said that if Leo could pass the second-tier score line, she would give me 1 million yuan. For me now, 1 million yuan is even more precious than timely help. So at that time, no matter what, I had to teach Leo well and let him get into a good university. So I asked Leo what he would do to calm down. Leo threw a bag at my feet. Tomorrow, wear this dress and come to my house and hold a party again. Then I'll forgive you. Me, can't you be considerate of a patient? Leo, no. I can't see where you are sick. Are you lying to me? I didn't explain. The next day, I came to his house, wearing the blue evening dress that Leo bought. I arrived at his house. Hannah? The little girl in a white dress said with a smile, the heating is on very high in here. You can take off your coat. The little girl had a lot of hostility in her eyes. When I saw her at Leo's house for the first time, she inexplicably hated me. I smiled and refused. But a group of girls surrounded me and directly took off my coat. The air instantly froze. The red patches on my arm were in full view of everyone. Oh my! What's growing on her? It's so terrifying. Dermatitis? At this moment, I was embarrassed and helpless. Just at this moment, a coat was put over my head. The male voice was full of anger. All of you close your eyes and get out. It was Leo. 11. He walked up to me and helped me put on my coat. His eyes were a little red. The boy's eyelashes drooped slightly. He didn't look at me. He just lowered his eyes and carefully buttoned my coat one by one. My eyes were also red. I smiled and said, Didn't I lie to you? Can you not fire me? Leo uttered an He was in low spirits. He pulled me into the room. In the remaining 2 hours, because of guilt, Leo did 4 sets of test papers. When I was correcting the questions, Leo twirled his pen while leaning on the chair. He propped his chin and looked at me. You are so hardworking. Is it because you need to treat your illness? 12 sort of. I was putting a tick mark. My family also needs money. So I have to work hard to make money. Leo uttered an O. He lay on the table and finally asked that sentence. Can your illness be cured? I shook my head. I capped my pen and then glanced at him. Leo's eyes are very beautiful. They are like those inexperienced little wolf dogs, revealing clarity and sincerity. I didn't answer. So you have to study hard and don't let the teacher down. Before leaving, I took down a talisman and gave it to him. In the year of the college entrance examination, my grandma went to the temple to ask for this. Leo, may everything go as you wish and may you be happy in all things. 13. Half a month later, because my grandma's condition worsened, I didn't go to the Zhang family to give tutoring for a long time. I found a friend to help with tutoring. On the Mid-Autumn Festival, I rushed home after participating in activities at school. The locked door at home was smashed. My grandma ran out alone. A week later, the police found her body in the mountains. She hanged herself and passed away. There were only a few delicate lines in the will. Grandma is gone. Be good, my dear. Grandma just misses Grandpa too much. Remember to take out the pickles in the kitchen the day after tomorrow. Otherwise, they will be too salty. Grandma had Alzheimer's disease. This wasn't the first time she had tried to commit suicide. When I was little, she raised me. But later when she became like a child, she refused to let me take care of her. During that time, Leo always sent me messages. Hannah, what are you doing? You left the tutoring halfway? Hannah, can you come back and give lessons? Hannah, Miss Lynn, I really can't listen when your friend gives lessons. Can you come back? I'll ask my mom to add money. 14, but I was in such a bad mood during that time. I didn't have the mind to reply to his messages. After Grandma was cremated, I vacated the house near the school. At school, my classmates in the class were also trying their best to help me. The monitor Kin helped me move things back to the dormitory. He was holding Grandma's urn for me. Grandma's urn was so small and light. She was originally thin and small. After getting sick, her appetite wasn't very good either. When he handed it to me, my tears flowed down like a flood. Kin freed one hand to hug me and gently patted my shoulder. After we separated, I seemed to see a silver Bentley parked not far from downstairs of the dormitory. The passenger window was half down. The black-haired boy was leaning inside the car, looking in my direction. It was Leo. Before I could react, the window went up, cutting off my sight from him. Hope Ethan won't meet me in the next life. Extra chapter: Ethan's perspective. Sir, aren't you going in? The wedding is about to start. The restaurant staff looked at a man in grand attire and handsome appearance who had been staring at the photo of the bride and groom outside the door in a daze for a long time. She couldn't help but go over and remind him. The man nodded slightly and smiled warmly. No need. I will go to the airport soon. In the car, this man looked out of the window and thought silently, his eyes revealing a sense of determination. In the next life. Zoe, I must cling to you. Earlier, he didn't tell Zoe that he had invited Chase out. Originally, he was prepared to snatch Zoe back regardless of the consequences. But when he saw the gentle and loving look in Chase's eyes, when he mentioned Zoe and the shining light in Zoe's eyes when she saw Chase, he suddenly gave up. He just told Chase that if he didn't treat Zoe well, he would definitely come back at all costs. The person who trapped my youth never looked back at me. But I still hope he is happy. The car restarted and quickly drove away from the school. What's going on? I clearly didn't do anything wrong. Yet I have this strange feeling for no reason. 15. The phone vibrated. It was a call from Leo's mother. Hannah, how is your condition? Well, Leo's grades have improved by leaps and bounds. I'm really grateful to you. Leo has mentioned it to me many times and hopes to cure your illness. I know a very good doctor. No. Thank you, Auntie. I interrupted her. My illness can't be cured. But on the eve of Leo's college entrance examination, I received another call from Leo's mother. Hannah, I'm sorry. Leo has been acting very strangely recently. I'm so worried. Could you please persuade him for me? At 1 o'clock in the morning, I found Leo in the hottest nightclub in the city. He was with a group of friends. I took a glass of water and walked over to splash it on his face. After that, his eyes seemed to clear up a bit. The girl sitting next to him shouted, "Are you crazy? Where did this crazy woman come from?" 16. I went to grab his arm. Come back with me. He shook me off. Leo, who do you think you are to tell me what to do? I held back my anger. Leo, you're about to take the college entrance examination. Do you think it's fun to be doing all this? I threw the tutoring fees from last month at his face. You have a family background that everyone in the world envies. And you have family and friends who love you. You have been dealt the best hand. But you're going to ruin it. Leo, you'll never amount to anything in your life. Even if you gave me $1 million, I wouldn't be your teacher again. Leo looked up and met my eyes. Why are you telling me all this? I smiled. Because I'm ill. My illness is very serious. I got lupus erythematosus in junior high school and later developed several complications, myocarditis, nephritis. There is a high possibility of developing acute renal failure, whether it's dialysis or a kidney transplant in the later stage. I need a lot of money. I want to live. I urgently need $1 million from Leo's mother to save my life. If a person like you, with all your limbs intact, is going to give up on your life, then I can only say, I misjudged you. I turned and left. In the corridor, Leo grabbed my hand and his voice softened. Hannah, I'll go back with you. 17 At the entrance of the nightclub. The tall boy's eyes looked down at me, black and bright, making my heart skip a beat. I'll study hard for the exam. And you get well. You mustn't give up. His breathing slowed down. Finally, he said it. Hannah, I like you. When I get into college, date me. My face was burning red. He asked curiously, why is your face so red? The red part on your face looks like a butterfly. I covered my face and pushed him with a smile. Your driver is waiting for you outside. Go. From tomorrow, I'll continue to tutor you until you finish the exam. He looked back twice with each step. Remember to send me your medical records. I'll find someone to cure you. I swear. I stood there, smiling at him. He was already in the car. But suddenly he walked back with big strides. He bent down and kissed me on the cheek, then went back to the car. I felt my face was as red as a monkey's butt, even though I knew the redness on my face was due to a lupus flare-up. But what was the reason for the fluttering in my heart? The sincere and passionate love of the boy. I seemed unable to refuse. 18 On the day Leo's college entrance examination results came out, he called me. I applied to your school. My school is one of the best in the country. But he did very well in the exam and could have gone abroad to study with his scores. There was a hint of pride in his voice. Hannah, I asked my second uncle to come back to China. He is a very famous oncologist abroad. He has saved many terminal patients. You'll definitely be okay. He rambled on for a long time, and then suddenly sounded a bit hey. Hannah, didn't you promise to be my girlfriend? You're not going to back out, are you? I was standing in the airport lobby. Tears were falling down my face. Leo, did you receive the bracelet? It was passed down from my grandmother. Although it's silver and she has many treasures, that one is her favorite. It was given by my grandfather. I touched the butterfly bracelet on my wrist and kissed it. Leo, I need to rest. I'm so sleepy. He stopped talking. His voice suddenly became very soft and gentle. Okay. Good night. Good night. Leo. Goodbye. I crouched in the airport lobby, crying my heart out and gasping for breath. I took a leave of absence and went to Ning City. I found on the internet that there is a hospital there that has a very good effect on treating lupus erythematosus. I don't want to wait for death. The process of struggling helplessly to change the result is too painful. I want to try again. But I also don't dare to let Leo have any expectations. I'm gambling with my illness and my future, in order to make him give up and forget about me, a person of no importance. I sent him a suicide note. 19 For years later, I didn't get cured. And the kidney disease almost used up the $1 million given by Leo's mother. Fortunately, I was lucky to meet an old Chinese doctor who could relieve my condition. For years have passed, and I have never forgotten the boy who said he liked me. Finally, I summoned up the courage to return to North City. But after returning, I didn't have the courage to see him. Until today, I met him again in this little girl's house. Compared to his appearance for years ago, Leo has become much more mature, and after the boyishness on him has faded, there is an added sense of allure of an adult. I swallowed and pretended to be nonchalant. I'm tutoring the girl in this house. He said and said lazily, you mean Ziyaning? She's not in the mood and doesn't want to have a class. 20 I hurriedly packed my things and prepared to leave, looking down the whole time, and not daring to look at him. Then when she's in a better mood, I'll come again. As soon as I turned around, Leo blocked the door. He crossed his arms. His shoulders sank. And he looked at me level-eye, with a sneer on his lips. Hannah, why have you become so timid now? I remember for years ago, you had a personality that even dared to hit me. I was inexplicably a bit nervous. I was young and naive before. Naive? He laughed. His body got closer. And his right hand was on the door frame, completely blocking my way. He took out a piece of paper from his pocket and threw it at my feet. The initial calm and indifference were completely torn apart. Hannah, there's no one as bad as you in this world. I looked down. It was the suicide note I wrote to Leo. 21. I'm such an idiot. Leo sneered as if he was really driven mad by me. Hannah, do you think it's fun to pretend to be dead? His hand was on my shoulder, very forcefully, forcing me to look up at him. I searched everywhere in the school and waited in your dormitory for a month. I even found the place where you used to live. Leo paused. His voice was very hoarse. I really thought you were dead. Hannah, you're really something. My throat was also so dry and painful that I could hardly speak. Sorry. Leo. It's all my fault. The corners of his lips were straight, without a trace of a smile. And suddenly he threw a card at me. Terminal cancer? Telling such a big lie for $1 million. He roared. 2 million. Lie to me again, teacher. When he said the last 2 words, he deliberately pronounced them very forcefully and deliberately. But until now, these 2 words are particularly harsh. 22. I ran. When there was suddenly a voice speaking in the corridor, I dashed out and ran away. I don't know how to face Leo like this. I really want to reach out, hug him, and touch his face again. Tell him that I have actually been struggling hard with my illness these years. Tell him that I didn't mean to deceive him. I was afraid that in case I couldn't survive this illness, he would be even more unbearable. But I can't say it. Because I have been treating this illness for 10 years with no improvement. And it's even getting worse. It's like a time bomb lurking in my body. I don't know when it will take me to hell. I can't be so selfish. And drag Leo down with me. 23. When I ran to the corridor, I passed by a girl on a skateboard who was grinning happily. Both of us stared at each other with wide eyes. A little sister in a wheelchair? Melancholy and introverted? Where? But I didn't dare to stop and ran out with my bag in a hurry, ignoring the girl calling my name behind me. Hannah! Hannah! Oh, wait for me. But as soon as I got home, my phone vibrated. It was a message from that girl. Hannah. Hannah. Sorry. Sorry. Leo is actually my cousin. My parents are abroad. It's a holiday recently. I'm freeloading at his house. My grades are really bad. I really want to have tutoring. So don't mind. Okay? I didn't mean to deceive you. I typed a paragraph but then deleted it. I replied with just a few words. Sorry. Something suddenly came up at home. I can't continue tutoring anymore. After more than 10 minutes, a voice call suddenly came from the other side. I grabbed it and answered, planning to reply to her properly. A deep male voice came from the other side. Hannah, where do you think you're running off to again? 24. I remained silent. But he suddenly said meaningfully, I've heard that tutoring is illegal now. What on earth are you trying to do? I said helplessly. There was silence on the other end for a moment. Only then did he speak slowly. Make up for everything you owe me in these for years. Me, we really aren't suitable. He sneered. Hannah, what do you think I want to do? Fall in love with you? You think too highly of yourself. I don't have to have you. He mocked. I just want you to experience what I felt back then. Hannah, you deserve to be punished. He said half jokingly. Didn't you take that card away? When I get tired of playing, you can take these 2 million. I was suddenly shocked. That card was in my pocket. I was in such a hurry when I left that I forgot he had thrown it into my pocket. Me, I'll bring the card over tomorrow. I can also tutor your sister. When you're happy and relieved. I'll leave. 25 Leo was right. In the beginning, it was I who brought up emotional cards first, using illness to win his sympathy. Later, it was also I who left without telling him anything. I'm not wrong. But he is also very innocent. During these years of treating my illness, I haven't given up studying. I even college coursework while treating my illness. I still want to go back to school and study well. I am also always looking forward to a miracle happening in the future. Although this waiting process is full of frustrations and pain. But I believe that one day, I can be like an ordinary person. No longer worried and frightened all the time. Don't have to take so many medicines. Won't have fevers often. And won't have pain. I can also read, work, fall in love, get married, and have my own child like a normal person. As long as one is alive, there is hope. Even when it was very painful. When I was alone in a rented house in a foreign place, suffering from migratory joint pain and repeated high fevers. The pain made me curl up in the quilt and cry softly. Even so, I never thought of giving up. But when facing Leo, I became hesitant and didn't seem like myself at all. 26 The next day when I woke up, I was woken up by an unfamiliar number. When I picked up, it was Leo's voice. You have 10 minutes. Come downstairs. It took me more than 10 seconds to slow down before I realized it was him calling. How do you know my address? He laughed. There are many things I know. I glanced at the time. It doesn't take 10 minutes. 5 minutes will do. It didn't even take 5 minutes when I went downstairs. I got into the car. Leo glanced at me. You're not wearing makeup? I shook my head. No need. Because of this illness. It seems. I haven't worn makeup for many years. He threw a paper bag at me. Hurry up and finish eating. It was breakfast. Still warm. After I send you home, you go upstairs and tutor by yourself. My sister is waiting for you. He started the car. I subconsciously asked, aren't you staying? He chuckled. Do you really think I want to keep watching you all the time? Hannah. 4 years have passed. Not everyone will always be waiting for you in the same place. 27. Hannah. I still don't quite understand how to solve this problem. Nina pointed at a problem on the test paper for me to look at. I was lost in thought. Only when I heard her voice did I come back to my senses. Nina smirked. Teacher. Are you thinking about my brother? I was startled by her words. Nina giggled. I've seen you. Me? She saw me stunned. She ran to other rooms outside. After a while, she brought a DV over. There were many things filmed inside. I also recognized this DV. She clicked on a disc named Butterfly. The first photo that opened was a photo of me dozing off. I blushed. That seemed to be the time when I came to Leo's house to tutor after finishing my part-time job. 28 I was so tired that day. My eyelids kept drooping. Leo also spoke surprisingly little that day and was extremely quiet when doing his homework and papers. Somehow, I fell asleep. It must have been taken at that time. In the photo, I was sleeping soundly, with my mouth slightly open and shiny saliva at the corner of my mouth. I saw that he had renamed the photo, Sleepy Pig. The second one is a video. I was answering a phone call on his balcony. He was filming here and there with a DV. And finally the shaky lens was aimed at me. I had a low fever that day and my cheeks were red again. I glared at him and tried to block the lens with my hand. But he grabbed my hand. It looks nice. Don't block it. When he held my hand, both of us were stunned. He also muttered, your palm is so hot. In the lens, my cheeks were flushed. And there were red marks of butterfly-shaped scars. But in his lens, it really didn't seem muggly. But later when Leo found out that I didn't like being photographed, he stopped using this to take pictures of me. Nina smiled like an auntie. My brother really treasures this DV. When he was a sophomore, he was still at school. A kid came to his house and played with his DV randomly. He drove home in less than 20 minutes and beat up the kid and threw him out of the room. 29 Hannah. My brother actually. The doorbell rang. The aunt went to open the door. The girl standing outside looked somewhat familiar. When she saw me, she recognized me at once. Lynn. Han? Nina pursed her lips. Snow is so annoying. Why is she here again? I also remembered. She was the girl who used to like Leo and always came to find him. Snow's eyes changed from shock to disgust. Aren't you dead? Why did you show up again? I heard you also cheated $1 million from Leo's mother. How dare you come out? Liar? Nina, however, put her hands on her hips and stood in front of me. Are you annoying? It's not your $1 million. Why are you talking so much? Don't mention $1 million. Even if it's $2 million. My brother is willing to spend it on her. La 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 la. Do you think you're special? He wouldn't give you even 100 yuan. 30 Snow probably came to find Leo. Leo wasn't there. She was so angry with Nina that she pointed at us and slammed the door and left. Nina snorted through her nose and sat down again. I hate her. I don't know why my brother wants to be friends with her. It's so annoying. We talked for a while. The door was pushed open from the outside again. This time, it was Leo. He didn't know where he had rushed back from and his breath was a bit unsteady. He stood at the door and stared at me carefully for a while. Nina, brother, didn't you have a meeting in the company today? Leo calmed his breathing and withdrew his gaze from me. Yes. It's over. Did Snow come? I checked the time and the tutoring time was also over. I packed my bag and walked towards the door. He grabbed my arm and walked out. Wait a minute. 31 After making sure Nina couldn't hear, Leo asked me, did anything happen between you? I smiled. Nothing. He said, stay away from her in the future. I didn't quite understand this. Was he concerned about her or me? But considering how much he seemed to hate me now, it was unlikely that he was concerned about me. I nodded and walked outside. He called me back again. Get in the car. I'll give you a ride. I refused. No. I'll take a taxi. Leo, you can't get a taxi here. If you choose to walk, you may have to walk at least 4 kilometers to find a bus stop. Also, if something happens to you here at night, I'll be responsible. Get in the car. I'll take you to the bus stop. Tito, I know Leo is stubborn. Once he decides to do something, there's almost nothing he can't do. For example, when I teased him before, he said he would apply to my school. I told him that although he had made progress, his score was still far from enough. But he didn't care and his eyes were full of confidence. Let's bet. I will definitely get into that school. What's the bet? He thought for a while. I haven't thought about it. If I get in, you just need to fulfill one of my wishes. I also smiled. Okay. Sitting in his car, there was an extra pink lumbar pillow on his passenger seat. I remembered there wasn't one when he sent me here in the morning. Maybe it was left by his girlfriend? Leo also checked his phone messages from time to time. When he read the messages, he would smile with his lips curved and his eyes gentle. Probably in a relationship. 33 He didn't stop when passing the bus stop. I didn't notice either. Not long after getting in the car, I fell asleep again. When I woke up, I was already downstairs. I thanked him. He held my hand for a moment and handed me something. Looking a bit awkward. Open it when you get home. It looked like a gift box from the outside. I can't take it. I can't have any more entanglement with him. After tutoring for this period, I should completely stay away from Leo. Away from his world. And he should also continue to move forward and get to know healthier and better girls. I didn't take it and just shook my head and returned the card to him. He was about to unbuckle his seatbelt and get out of the car. It's not valuable. And you don't have a boyfriend. Hannah. Someone called my name. It was Kin. My college classmate. After I came back, I met him several times when I went to school for some business. He also lived near my house. I watched Kin walk towards me. And then I looked at Leo. I said softly. Actually, I have a boyfriend. Leo looked at Kin and suddenly lowered his eyes and smiled self-deprecating lie. He stepped on the accelerator and left. Third tie for Kin and I sat in the coffee shop downstairs for a while. I hardly heard what he said. I was absent-minded all the time. The boy just now was Leo, right? Kin suddenly changed the topic. I looked up in surprise. How do you know him? After you dropped out of school. This boy came to find me. He seemed very sad and asked me to tell him where you were. I said I didn't know. And he sat on the roadside for a very long time. I sat there blankly, not realizing that tears were falling down one by one. After returning to my room, I was still thinking about Kin's words. I'm getting married soon. If you have time, come and join the fun. Hannah. Actually, I feel that boy really likes you. During the 4 years of college, he studied at our school. I also took the postgraduate entrance examination and my department was close to his. I could often see him. This boy was almost always with male friends every day except for running, playing basketball and having classes. I saw many times that girls confessed to him on the basketball court. But he refused them all and didn't even bother to look at the letters. Actually, I guess he has only you at his heart. So he couldn't move on. Why not consider being with him? 35. Why not consider being with him? Because my dialysis effect is not good and the doctor has recommended that I have a kidney transplant. I may not even be able to wait for a kidney source. I washed my face with cold water, trying to make myself sober. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. I thought the delivery of the things I bought had arrived. As soon as I opened the door, it was pulled open forcefully by the person outside. A tall figure walked in. Without any warning, he walked over and pushed me against the wall and his face came down. I was still in shock. Then I felt a pain on my lips. Immediately after, his lips moved passionately, kissing me painfully hard. My shoulders were also pinched painfully. Leo's kiss was very clumsy and rough, as if he wanted to vent out all the emotions of waiting and resentment for 4 years. I didn't push him away either, but tears kept falling down uncontrollably. When our breaths were disordered, he raised his hand and unbuttoned my first button. But then he suddenly stopped. 36. Hannah. Leo's throat moved and his voice was so deep and muffled. If I didn't know your situation now, I would probably be deceived by you again. That boy. Kin. Right? He's getting married soon. His girlfriend is the sister of my friend. The hand that was gripping my shoulders suddenly dropped. I know. You lied to me again and again. Just because you don't like me. Am I really that bad? You won't even say a word to comfort me? I was silent. I understand. He stepped back half a step. His smile was sarcastic and his shoulders slumped like a homeless puppy. Hannah. It's me who is sick. From tomorrow on, you don't have to come. And I will never bother you again. 37. Hannah. I will never like you again. Hannah. I hate you. Hannah. I resent you. I had a very long nightmare. I dreamed of Leo's face. His facial features that used to be full of sunshine suddenly became cold. He said he never wanted to see me again. When I woke up from the dream, my pillow was almost soaked with tears. It was full of dried white tear stains. I suddenly realized I have liked Leo for a very long time. 38. The boy's passionate love was finally expressed. But I missed him again. I stayed at home for 2 days and 2 nights. On the 3rd morning, the rain outside stopped. I opened the window and a small white butterfly flew in and landed on the windowsill. But I suddenly realized even if I'm unlucky and don't have a long life, I still want to tell him that I like him in person. When I rushed to Leo's house, Nina rubbed her eyes. Han. Sister Han. Why are you so late? She dragged me into the house as she spoke. After my brother sent you home 2 days ago. He came back and drank all day in the house and had a gloomy face when he saw anyone. I guessed that you must have rejected him. I was a bit out of breath when I left in a hurry. I calmed my heartbeat by stroking my chest. I want to see him. Nina. Wait. I'll go with you. I go. Where? Nina's face was solemn. He had a party with his friends today and will take a plane to go abroad tonight. My heartbeat became even faster. 39. The driver drove Nina and me to the hotel. All the way, my mind was in turmoil. Is it right for me to do this? He's almost going abroad. He has made a new choice. Nina noticed the hesitation on my face. Sister Han, are you scared? Although I don't know why you have always rejected my brother. But I'm sure that if you don't tell him your feelings today, you will regret it for the rest of your life. Yes. Even if it means death. I want him to know. I like him. The driver was very efficient and we arrived at the destination in less than half an hour. As soon as I got out of the car, Nina waved goodbye to me and left me here alone and drove away. 40. I was a bit nervous. The moment I entered the venue, I felt that I had come to the wrong place. Everyone at the banquet was dressed elegantly. Except for me. I was just wearing a very simple hoodie, shorts, and casual shoes. There were too many people. I pushed through the crowd and walked in. I just saw Leo. Snow was walking gracefully beside him in a custom-made dress full of crystals. At the same time, they also saw me. But this time, Leo didn't stop his gaze on me as he usually did. He just glanced at me as if I was a complete stranger. He walked out of the inner field and into the corridor before I realized and chased after him. Snow was waiting there, blocking my way. Hannah, are you crazy? Do you know what this occasion is? 41. She pointed to a corner of the venue. See? Leo's mother is right there. Should I remind her right away that the girl who cheated her of $1 million has shown up? Should I ask her to call the police and have you arrested? Hannah, I really underestimated you. Are you clinging to the Zhang family? I ignored her shouts. Leo. I called Leo. With a few people in between. He paused for a moment, didn't turn around, and even continued walking. Leo. I'm sorry. I didn't lie to you about being ill. I have lupus erythematosus, an incurable cancer. I got it in junior high school. The year I took a leave of absence. I went to another province for treatment. But I didn't know if I would have a chance to come back. So I lied to you that I was dead. I just hoped that even if I couldn't be cured, you wouldn't be affected by my emotions and future as a passerby. So I thought it would be better if we had no more intersections. Snow crossed her arms and called over a few bodyguards to drive me out. I felt my heartbeat getting faster and faster. And my breathing becoming more and more rapid. Leo. I just want to tell you. It's not that you're bad. It's that I am. I'm more cowardly than you. I like you. But I never said it. The dull pain in my heart became more and more obvious. It was stuffy and I couldn't breathe. I even found it a bit difficult to finish the last few sentences. Zhang. Li, I will still try to get well in the future. I hope you will be happy after you go abroad. While being pushed, my vision went black and I collapsed. Was my myocarditis acting up again? 42. I could hardly breathe. Between gasps, I seemed to see someone running over in big strides, pushing away those in the way. He crouched down and held me in his arms. He was panicked and lost his previous calm. Get away. Call a doctor. Hannah. I heard what you said. I warn you. I remember every word you said. What nonsense are you talking about going abroad? Today is my mother's birthday banquet. I tell you. You have to live well and compensate me with the rest of your life. My vision went black and my sight gradually became blurred. Suddenly, I felt something drop on my cheek. The man, who was 1.86 meters tall, had teary eyes and said in a trembling voice, I won't allow it. You just said you liked me. Hannah. I won't allow you to leave me. I'm so reluctant to leave you two. The passionate love of the young man was finally spoken. But I passed him by again. I stayed at home for 2 days and 2 nights. On the early morning of the 3rd day, the rain outside stopped. I pushed open the window, and a small white butterfly fluttered in and landed on the windowsill. But suddenly I figured it out. Even if I'm unlucky and can't live that long, I still want to tell him personally that I like him. When I rushed to Leo's house, Nina rubbed her eyes. Old Sister Han, why are you only coming now? As she pulled me into the house, my brother came back after sending you home 2 days ago and drank alcohol all day in the room. He had a gloomy face to everyone. I guess that he must have been shut out by you. When I left in a hurry, I was short of breath. I patted my chest to calm my heartbeat. I want to see him. Nina, wait. I'll accompany you right away. Me, go. Where to? Nina looked solemn. After he gathers with his friends today, he will take a plane and leave for abroad tonight. My heartbeat became even faster. 39 The driver drove me and Nina to the hotel. Along the way, my mind was in a turmoil. Is what I'm doing right? He is about to go abroad. He has made a new choice. Nina saw the hesitation on my face. Sister Han, are you afraid? Although I don't know why you have been rejecting my brother. But I'm sure that if you don't tell him your feelings today, you will regret it for the rest of your life. Yes. Even if it means death. I also want him to know. I like him. The driver uncle was very efficient and arrived at the destination in less than half an hour. As soon as I got out of the car, Nina made a goodbye gesture at me, and left me here alone and followed the car. 40 I was a little uneasy. The moment I entered the venue, I felt that I had come to the wrong place. Everyone attending the banquet was dressed exquisitely. Only I was wearing an extremely simple sweatshirt, shorts, and casual shoes. There were too many people. I pushed aside the crowd and walked inside. Just then I saw Leo. Snow was walking gracefully beside him in a high-end custom-made dress full of crystals. At the same time, they also saw me. But this time, Leo no longer stopped looking at me as he usually did. He just glanced at me as if I were just a completely stranger. When he walked out of the inner area and into the corridor, I came to my senses and chased after him. Snow was waiting there and blocked my way. Hannah, are you crazy? Do you know what occasion this is? 41 She pointed to a corner of the venue. See. Leo's mother is right there. Do you need me to remind her immediately that the girl who cheated her out of 1 million has appeared? Let her call the police and arrest you? Hannah, I really underestimated you. Are you clinging to the Zhang family and not letting go? I ignored her clamor. Leo. I called out to Leo across a few people. He paused for a moment but didn't turn back. Instead, he continued walking. Leo. I'm sorry. I didn't lie to you about being sick. I have lupus erythematosus, an incurable cancer. I got it in junior high school. The year I took a leave of absence, I went to another province for treatment. But I don't know if I still have a chance to come back. So I lied to you that I was dead. I just hope that even if I can't be cured, you won't be affected by me, a passerby, in terms of your emotions and future. So I thought it would be better not to have any more intersections with you. Snow folded her arms and called several bodyguards to drive me out. I felt my heartbeat getting faster and faster, and my breathing getting more and more rapid. Leo, I just want to tell you, it's not that you are bad. It's me who is lousy. I am more timid than you. I like you. But I have never said it. The dull pain in my chest became more and more obvious. I felt stuffy and couldn't catch my breath. I even found it a bit difficult to finish the last few sentences. Zhang Li, I will still receive treatment well in the future. I hope you will also live happily after going abroad. While being pushed and shoved, my vision turned black and I fell to the ground in despair. Is it a recurrence of myocarditis? 42 I had some difficulty breathing. During my gasps, it seemed as if someone was running over in big strides and pushing aside those in the way. He squatted down and held me in his arms. He was panicked and lost his previous calmness. Get out of the way. Call a doctor. Hannah, I heard what you said. I warn you. I remember every word you said. What are you talking nonsense about going abroad? Today is my mother's birthday banquet. I tell you. You have to live well and compensate me with the rest of your life. My vision turned black and gradually became blurry. But suddenly I felt something fall on my cheek. The tall man of 1.86 meters had teary eyes. He said in a trembling voice softly, "I won't allow it. You just said you like me. Hannah. I won't allow you to leave me. I am also so reluctant to part with you. And 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 to